Moabites, born from a desperate act in a mountain cave, a nation shrouded in scandal, yet destined to shape the history of Israel. From a shadowed beginning to the birth of heroes, their story is one of survival, faith, and unexpected redemption. This is the untold story of the children of Moab. After the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot and his daughters fled to the mountains, seeking safety and survival. But what happened next would give birth to a nation, and a story filled with scandal, courage, and unexpected destiny. From the union of Lot and his daughters came two sons, Moab and Ben-Ammi, ancestors of the Moabites and Ammonites. These children were born under desperate and morally complex circumstances, yet they would grow to become nations that played pivotal roles in the history of Israel. The Moabites would often clash with Israel, yet among them arose heroes like Ruth, a Moabite woman whose loyalty, courage, and faith reshaped history and became part of the lineage of King David and ultimately Jesus Christ. This is a story of survival, redemption, and the hidden ways God works through the most unlikely beginnings. The children of Moab remind us that even from the shadows, extraordinary destinies can emerge. Part 1. The origins of Moab. After the fiery destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot and his two daughters fled to the mountains, seeking refuge from the devastation below. Alone and isolated, the daughters faced a desperate fear. The family line would end if they had no children. In a radical and controversial plan, they got their father drunk and each spent a night with him, conceiving two sons. From this unusual and morally complex act came Moab the firstborn and Ben-Ammi the second. Moab became the father of the Moabites, and Ben-Ammi became the father of the Ammonites, two nations that would later shape the history of Israel in dramatic ways. The story is shocking, yet it sets the stage for understanding the Moabites, a people born out of desperation, survival, and human imperfection. Even from these difficult beginnings, a lineage emerged that would interact with God's chosen people and, in surprising ways, become part of His divine plan. This was more than just a tale of scandal. It was the beginning of a nation, a story of survival, and a reminder that God's purposes often work through imperfect circumstances. Part 2. The Moabites in history. As Moab's descendants grew into a nation, they settled east of the Dead Sea, a land of rugged hills and fertile valleys. The Moabites became strong and prosperous, but their relationship with Israel was complicated. At times they were neighbors and allies. At other times they were enemies, testing Israel's faith and resolve. One of the most dramatic moments in Moabite history involves King Balak of Moab, who feared the Israelites as they journeyed toward the Promised Land. Terrified that these newcomers would conquer his nation, Balak sought the help of the prophet Balaam, offering him riches to curse the Israelites. Yet, in a stunning twist, God intervened. Instead of cursing Israel, Balaam ended up blessing them, showing that no king or nation could thwart God's plan. Through this story, the Moabites are shown as a people caught between fear, ambition, and the unfolding will of God. Their land, power, and kings all played roles in testing Israel's faith and demonstrating that God's purpose cannot be stopped, even when nations try to resist it. Though often seen as outsiders, the Moabites were intricately woven into the story of Israel. Their history a mix of conflict, challenge, and occasionally opportunity for redemption. Part 3. Ruth, a Moabite of faith. Among the children of Moab, one story shines brighter than the rest. That of Ruth, a Moabite woman whose loyalty and courage changed history. Though born into a nation often at odds with Israel, Ruth made a choice that would defy expectations and rewrite her destiny. After the death of her husband, Ruth faced a life of uncertainty. Her mother-in-law Naomi urged her to return to her people in Moab. But Ruth's heart was unwavering. She famously declared, "Where you go, I will go. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God." Ruth's journey to Bethlehem was more than a physical relocation. It was a leap of faith. She embraced a foreign land, a new culture, and a God she had not known from birth. Her courage, humility, and diligence won the favor of Boaz, a kind and righteous man from Naomi's family. Through her marriage to Boaz, Ruth became part of Israel's lineage, eventually becoming the great-grandmother of King David. Her faith and loyalty transcended national boundaries, showing that God's plan often works through the most unexpected people, even outsiders or foreigners. Ruth's story demonstrates that the children of Moab were not defined by their nation's reputation. Even from a land and lineage viewed with suspicion, faith, courage, and love could shine, influencing the course of history and God's divine plan for his people. Part 4. Lessons from the children of Moab. The story of Moab's children is filled with complexity, desperate beginnings, powerful nations, conflict with Israel, and yet moments of extraordinary faith and redemption. From Moab, the nation, to Ruth, the woman, their story teaches lessons that still resonate today. 1. Faith transcends origin. Ruth, a Moabite, chose loyalty and devotion to God and Naomi over her own people. Her faith shows that God looks at the heart, not the nationality or past mistakes. Even those born outside Israel could become part of his plan. 2. God works through unlikely circumstances. The Moabites were born from a desperate act, yet God used them in history in ways no one could have predicted. Ruth's marriage to Boaz, her inclusion in David's lineage, and her place in the ancestry of Jesus remind us that God's purposes often unfold through unexpected people and events. 3. Courage and loyalty shape legacy. Whether it was Ruth leaving her homeland or standing faithfully by Naomi, their choices created ripples through generations. Sometimes the actions of one person can transform the course of history, even when their nation or lineage had a complicated past. The children of Moab were more than their origins or their nation's conflicts. They were instruments of God's plan. Their story reminds us that God's grace can redeem the past, transform lives, and elevate the most unlikely heroes. Part 5. The legacy of the Moabites. Though the Moabites often appear in the Bible as outsiders or even adversaries, their legacy is far more complex and profound than mere conflict. From the children of Lot, born out of desperation, to Ruth, the faithful Moabite woman, their story shows that God's purposes can work through the most unlikely people. The Moabites remind us that beginnings do not define destiny. A nation born from a morally difficult act became part of the spiritual and historical tapestry of Israel. Even in times of tension and war, God's providence was at work, weaving redemption through human choices, loyalty, and courage. Through Ruth, the Moabite lineage entered Israel's royal line, ultimately leading to King David, and centuries later, to the birth of Jesus Christ. This illustrates a powerful truth. God's plan is bigger than human mistakes, national boundaries, or social expectations. The story of the children of Moab teaches us that courage, faith, and loyalty can transform history. Even those who seem far from God's favor can become instruments of his plan. Their legacy is a reminder that redemption, hope, and purpose can emerge from the most unexpected places.